Salome, and I have a short, brief statement that I would like to enter into the public comments on behalf of the concerned citizens of California. I'm calling today to address certain concerns we have with respect to the adverse effects that the California sanctuary state policies and laws have and continue to have on our local communities, and in particular, the plight of our children and or grandchildren in school as it relates to ICE, immigrant enforcement, and the lack of notice to ICE regarding the disposition of convicted criminal aliens, rising crime, recidivism stats, drug trafficking, human trafficking, gang violence, and a host of other unsavory items that now plague our communities and schools, thanks to Governor Gavin Newsom and other Sacramento politicians who keep churning out bills that seek to further insulate alien perpetrators of horrible things who would otherwise be deported were it not for the sanctuary state we are now living in. On October 16th of last year, Jessica Vaughn, Director of Policy Studies for the Center of Immigration Studies, gave testimony at the Los Angeles meeting of the same committee on this same subject matter and presented a wealth of factual information. However, none of her testimony and none of my testimony on March 5th, with the exception of 42 Code of Federal Regulations, Section 34, 70, and 71, was included in a draft document that was compiled from both forums. We are very disappointed and puzzled that none of anyone's comments and or statistical data was included in the draft to add valuable context to the plight of our school children as it relates to the adverse health effects of diseases historically imported into America by foreign national children. Since we are now in the middle of the COVID-19 disease crisis involving total shutdowns of schools and businesses for the most part, we hope you will, at a very minimum, include the historical facts submitted in our position statement of March 4th that show uncommon diseases introduced into school communities via the undocumented as they are assimilated into schools across America. To recap, those listed diseases have been bombarding America since Obama's DACA program was instituted, and the CDC now admits, quote, reemerging dangerous diseases have been imported as states' data reveals border crossings is linked to new and reemerging rare disease outbreaks, unquote, including but not limited to the polio-like virus called EVD68, drug-resistant TB, Chagas disease, leprosy, respiratory diseases, malaria, dengue fever, and other historically uncommon diseases. And, of course, who could ignore COVID-19? We are very concerned that the sanctuary provided to the school children and the families of illegals, that these sanctuary policies adversely affect the health and welfare of everyone in the community, not to mention absenteeism due to imported illnesses. Let me repeat that. Due to imported illnesses. Merely because you are unaware of the debilitating effects of imported diseases does not mean that they are like a cold virus. All diseases have an impact on our school children, and this should not be taken lightly. Again, has anybody forgotten the importation of COVID-19? Where are the vector studies about immigration, imported diseases, and absenteeism of our school children? Disease doesn't have a political affiliation. To continue, we agree with the Director of Policy Studies for the Center of Immigration Studies that the claims of a chilling effect on crime reporting are unsubstantiated. We ask you, does not the public health and safety of the community matter? And couldn't our schools and local communities be better served by reducing and or eliminating the importation of diseases, gang presence and violence, drug and or human trafficking of our youth, regardless of citizenry, through the implementation of renewed cooperation with immigration enforcement efforts? Again, we strongly recommend immigration and ICE enforcement, along with the health and safety issues provided by 42 CFR sections 34, 70, and 71 for our school children. And I would be happy to send in a complete copy of that which I just said, if you would so like.